is Lindsay and Justin coming to you today for Business Back and Forth. And we have today as a topic the cool project story of the Home Depot Bay Directed Services.
This is a good one. I like this one just because so many people can relate to it.
So let's dive in. So we all know who the Home Depot is. Their slogan is, "You can do it, we can help." And we all know they sell lumber, flowers, and lighting. So why were you there, Justin?
So the Home Depot is a home goods retailer, right? They have lumber, flowers, garbage cans, cabinets, you name it, they have it. And it's all about building a better household or literally building a house. So an interesting fact about Home Depot is that they're headquartered in Atlanta, Georgia, which is where we are. And their corporate campus has 3 very tall skyscrapers on the corporate campus. One skyscraper is all for store operations. So thinking about the suppliers and the merchants where they get these products and need to place them in the store, operational things like human resources and accounting and all of that. The other 2 towers are dedicated to technology, which is pretty progressive for a home improvement store as a retailer. But technology underpins so much of what they do that it was a natural fit for me when I worked for Slalom Consulting years ago to go and to work at the Home Depot and get involved with them. So this Bay Directed Services thing, it really is technology that we'll get more into.
Mm-hmm. I had no idea that they had all those towers, no less that like 2 of them actually house tech stuff. So that's wild.
Yeah, they're very progressive too in their technology organization. They're always trying something cutting edge, something new. User experience is a big deal for us at APG. They actually have, at last I heard, an almost 100-person UX team, making sure that the homedepot.com and the website and mobile app and interfaces in their stores are all well designed.
So this Bay Directed Services sounds interesting. So clearly we're not talking about bays by the ocean. So
no.
What was the project all about?
Inside of a Home Depot store, when you go down a retail aisle and see products, let's say cleaning products from Windex, Clorox, and the like, those shelves where those products are stacked are called bays. And so the Bay Directed Services product referred to servicing those bays and making sure that they could be replenished with products in an accurate way. And I'll get more into that in a minute, but technology actually began to play a huge role in making sure every shelf, aka bay, in a Home Depot store was well stocked.
What role did you play in the project?
So my role as a consultant was first and foremost as a consultant, but to work with the Home Depot stakeholders to elicit and capture their requirements, as well as design what this actual Bay Directed Services app would look like. I had a team. I was surrounded by a team of both a full-time UX designer and a full-time business analyst. And my job was more of the facilitator, meaning I would facilitate the meetings where we were gathering requirements, mocking up concepts, and discussing the overall workflow around this technology. So you could consider me the team lead on this particular project.
I'm sure that had its challenges and rewards.
Well, it does. It always does. It always does. I love when we can work together as a team. It's a lot more enjoyable to have teammates you can riff on ideas and concepts about versus doing something all by yourself. And this one was too big for me to do by myself.
Absolutely. I can imagine. Were there any unique challenges or requirements associated with working on a project with a major retail player like the Home Depot?
Yeah, there really are. So with this one for Bay Directed Services, we were taking a paper-based process and digitizing it. So when you go inside of a Home Depot store and you see that shelf full of Windex and Clorox, you may remember or may have never noticed on the side of that bay was an envelope, a clear envelope that contained papers, usually folded or rolled up. And that was a document called a planogram. And a planogram is basically like a floor plan that you would see for the blueprint of a building or a house. And that explained to the team that would replenish the shelves what product goes on the shelf and in what sequence. So it was interesting for me to learn more that this is very common in the retail space. Target, Walmart, Home Depot, you pick a retailer, they all have planograms to explain what product goes in what location. And it's really because product companies like Clorox pay a lot of money for prime placement inside of a bay, inside of a store. If you notice when you go in a grocery store, at eye level, when you go down the cereal aisle, are the higher dollar cereals from Kellogg's and Post. If you look down at the bottom of the shelf on near the floor, you're going to see the off-brand stuff, the store brand products. And that's because those companies don't pay as much to have the eye level prominence. And the same thing happens at the Home Depot and other retailers. So learning those intricacies of why it's important that products are stocked in a specific way was one of the coolest things to learn and made this project very interesting.
Mhm. So basically, it was just that that team member was able to gather all those boxes, and then they were able to look at the plan and then go, oh, well, now I know that this box and this box and this box goes on this shelf and in this order.
That's
And
correct. Yep. And by digitizing it and taking it out of paper, we improved that whole replenishment process. We could tell exactly which merchandiser was going to which bay at any given time based on their assignment in the mobile app that we were designing. They could very quickly record anything like broken items. Maybe they were replenishing the shelf and opened the box and found half of the items broken. They could input that information and quickly have another box on order so that that shelf never became empty. So it was very, very advanced in what it was able to do for Home Depot, which of course allows them to serve more customers and make more revenue.
Mm-hmm. And I can imagine having a box like that that's broken, and they've paid that prime real estate as Clorox or Windex or whatever, that they want to get that back out quickly to get that on that shelf. So that was imperative.
That's right. That's not going to go over well if it isn't done well.
So, in what ways did the project with the Home Depot align with or differ from your previous experiences in similar projects?
Yeah, so this one was different in the respect of I've certainly designed for mobile before, and so had my teammates. But unique to the Home Depot, they have a special handheld device that they use for their store associates, and it's very durable. So, as you can imagine, a Home Depot associate may climb up on a ladder to get products off of a shelf that's 20 feet or more up in the air. I think we've all looked up inside of one of those stores and seen the boxes up there, right? It is entirely possible and probable that that phone will slip out of their hand at some point, hit the ground, and they can't have it crash and fall apart. They need something that's truly military grade, and that's exactly what they're using in their stores. So where I was accustomed to designing just for iOS and Android and consumer devices like we use, I actually had to learn the nuances of this heavy duty industrial grade smart device instead. So that was probably the biggest difference. Otherwise, a lot of the same principles apply in terms of best practices for mobile.
That sounds like a cool enough project at that point just to be.
Yeah, it is. It really was. Just to see those devices, they're tougher than an OtterBox. I'll put it that way.
Wow. How did the experience of working on a project with Home Depot influence your approach to future projects?
So this one opened my eyes in many regards, just to have a respect for how many teams are involved in something as important as replenishing those bays inside of the store. So it certainly helped me recognize the importance when we start any project of asking, who are we truly affecting? Both who is affecting us, what are the inputs coming into whatever product we're designing, and also what are the lingering effects or the outputs of whatever product we're designing. So in this case, we know the inputs were those new products from Clorox that need to go on the shelf. And I keep saying Clorox, but this whole thing wasn't about Clorox. This affected everything in the Home Depot store across all 2,000 plus stores in the country. So the scope was pretty big. But we had to understand that supply chain coming into merchandising and restocking those shelves, and then also understand the trailing effects of what it means if product is missing or broken or misplaced. So having that breadth of awareness really informs today's projects and helps remind me to always ask those questions about who else is involved beyond the immediate scope of what we're doing.
Mm-hmm. What impact did the project have on the Home Depot operations or services, and how was this impact measured or evaluated?
Well, I tell you, just transitioning from paper to digital has so many benefits inherent to it. But one of the biggest is they could cut down on the amount of time it took to train those people who needed to replenish the shelves. They could have how-to videos and guides inside of the smart device to explain exactly how things needed to be done. Also, if there was, let's say, restocked items that were missing. Let's say we anticipated stocking the shelf full of cleaning products, but that truck is delayed. It just didn't arrive. They could very easily reassign those people to restock other shelves inside of the store because there's never a shortage of stuff to do. That allowed them to be more efficient and make better use of their human resources by giving them a better tool to direct their work.
I can imagine, and I would automatically just assume, listening to that, of that takes that ownership and another cross training and stuff for those staff within those stores, because
That's right.
That's awesome that they get to, that they're used to coming in and working on that cleaning supply aisle, but now I get to go up here to lumber and go learn something new, and being able to learn some different aspects about the company and really immerse themselves. So that's huge.
Yeah, and it really is sort of a major and a minor inside of the stores amongst that team. You may have a primary specialty of let's say lumber, and then a secondary specialty of hardware. So they could interchange and move around the store, and the more departments they knew and understood, the more valuable they were as a teammate,
Right.
and could certainly be more flexible with their assignments.
Mm-hmm. So my favorite question: if you knew then what you know now, what would you have done differently?
On this one in particular, we had good access to experts inside of Home Depot's corporate headquarters. We had limited access to people who actually did this job of replenishing the shelves. If I knew then what I know now, I would have pushed to have more face time with the people who are actually doing the job day in and day out. And it wouldn't be to detract from their responsibilities because they had deadlines and things they needed to do inside of the store. But I do feel like on something like this, the more voices you can get out of the community that's actually going to be using the app, the better. I'm not saying what we designed isn't great and hasn't done a good job, but I just always feel a greater sense of comfort when I'm able to socialize our designs with a broader community.
Mm-hmm. And being able to bounce off those ideas and really getting some more insight just from those people that are in the trenches and doing that every day.
That's right. That's right. But all in all, just the opportunity to work with such a major retailer certainly left an imprint on me and a lot of great lessons learned.
Yeah, I can imagine. So that today, guys, is our cool project story from the Home Depot. I certainly learned a lot from this and hope you did too. Thanks,
Awesome.
Justin.
Thank you.